Hello guys, Chris Vindomania back here with another video. This is take 2 of this here because the first take I just rambled something chronic and kind of just went on massive tangents that people from Northern Ireland seem to do. Check out Northern Ireland Wrestling Connection's latest video and you'll see what I'm talking about. So, Elimination Chamber was last night, stroke this morning. Bit of a nothing really pay-per-view. For me, the highlight was the Elimination Chamber match itself. I was a bit surprised at the Shield Ryback Sheamus Cena match. It wasn't set in the chamber. I thought the Shield were going to come down and lower the cage down, something like that, to be total rebellious, etc, etc. But didn't happen. Just a bit of a dud pay-per-view in my opinion. Not really that many matches that kind of stood out for me, I thought the Punk Rock match was again a big letdown. I think the Rock really needs to up his game and the build up to Wrestlemania. He needs to get more matches under his belt as well. In my opinion, if you're on Raw, if you're on SmackDown, we don't need to hear you talk. We need to see you wrestle, and he needs to get back to doing that. Obviously, 10 odd years ago, he was slightly less defined than he is now. Like he's a brick house. I'm not going to say the S word, but you know what I mean. Now, whereas he wasn't before. So obviously he's got a lot more muscle mass to carry around. But time will tell. So obviously it's set in stone now that we're going to get Rock Cena twice in a lifetime. My t-shirt has been ordered. Got an email today to say that it's at the printers, so it should be arriving soon. So can't wait to wear that around WrestleMania weekend. So that went pretty concrete. Swagger versus Del Rio hasn't really, they've kind of said that Del Rio's the champion, Swagger is the number one contender, but obviously with Ziggler still having the Money in the Bank, he can cash that in at any time. So whether they're kind of keeping that for a bit, just to play it safe, and then see it'll go from there. But a Del Rio Swagger match kind of has me excited. We know now that Del Rio will never kick the bucket, and that's obviously, if you watched last night's pay-per-view, you know what that means. But I think it'll be an interesting match. It's interesting to see Swagger come back with so much intensity. It reminds me very much of Kurt Angle, whenever he could turn on the intensity and be very, very focused. Very similar to that, and I'm really glad that he's getting a big main event push. One of the matches that I have down here is Team Hell No, Ryback and Sheamus versus the Shield, and either Brad Maddox or another, whether Shield gets another member or something like that. I honestly can't say. I don't know whether Team Hell No will split and they will have their match at WrestleMania, or whether that'll be something that we'll see at a pay-per-view or two after that, because they still have the tag belt. So unless before that we see, I don't know, maybe, there's not that many tag teams now, and Road Scholars has dissolved. They got back together and they got squashed by Brodus and Tensai. So whether we see those two and primetime players or something like that, but that's just what I think's happening. Because Team Hell No were attacked by the Shield, I think that may be something that resurfaces again. I think Orton will be pushed away from that, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Sheamus, I honestly can't see him having another feud with anyone. There's not, Sheamus seems to have had a feud with everyone. I can't really see him going for like the IC title or something like that. I think that's a bit of a step down for him. But again, I'll touch on that in a minute. So that's what I'm thinking of that match there. I'm probably way wrong, but I'm just thinking of matches that may happen. So whether it's a case of Ryback and Sheamus, because Ryback took the pinfall, was very annoyed. So whether Sheamus tries to console him and Team Hell No come out to help, and the Shield and, as I say, Maddox, or there's another member of the Shield, like another up-and-comer from NXT or somebody on the roster who they're not really doing something with. I mean, a good swerve would be to put Zack Ryder or something like that in there, but I'm just basically naming names for the sake of naming names. I think Mark Henry will have a match, and I think it'll be against the fantastic on the microphone, Randy Orton. Yeah, after the Elimination Chamber and him basically just throwing him Orton through the plexiglass, basically coming back in and doing the World's Strongest Slam on everyone. I think it's safe to say that that'll probably be a match that we see, not the most entertaining of matches, but I think they're a good foil for each other, with Orton kind of being, the apex predator, RKO out of nowhere, just very methodical, and Mark Henry just the destruction, just the monster basically going around. It could just lay waste to anyone. We've already seen, like a couple of matches in SmackDown, so whether that's a case of it's a feud that goes up. So from one monster to the other, the Big Show, where's the Big Show going to fit into this? But there's two other little small people who haven't fit in this. So I think for one of the first times that I can think of at a WrestleMania, we're going to have a handicap match, which would be Rey Mysterio and Sin Cara versus the Big Show. Obviously Mysterio and Sin Cara were doing very well in the tag team division. Obviously Sin Cara got injured, Mysterio had his wellness policy, personal issues, came back, Mark Henry injured him. So whether it's a case of Big Show takes his frustrations on losing the World Championship out in Sin Cara and Mysterio, and then those two fight Big Show at WrestleMania. Obviously there's been talk of these two fighting, but I think they're kind of leaving a bit late in the day. Obviously, you see, there's so many matches that I've listed here, and there's no way on earth that these are all going to happen. Like the ones that everyone wants to see are Brock versus Triple H and Undertaker versus CM Punk. Now they're pretty much, I would just agree with everyone there that if anyone's mentioned that on their list, then that's fine. But that's probably the safest bet to go for is those ones. Or whether Undertaker teams up with Team Hell No against the Shield, something like that. Again, it's just there's so many swings and roundabouts at the moment. I think if we were to have a Divas match, the most sensible one to have would be Caitlyn and AJ. Obviously with Caitlyn being the Divas champion, AJ and her being friends in the past. We've seen in the Elimination Chamber that Caitlyn mentioned about her psychotic former best friend AJ. So whether we get to see that, or whether we get to see AJ and say Tamina Snuka against Caitlyn and a celebrity female or something like that. Again, it's just the sake of naming names for the sake of it. Miz versus Antonio Cesaro for the US title, but I think R-Truth is going to be thrown into the mix here as well, because he's been off TV for a while. Obviously, I think the Miz, whether there was other plans for the Miz, and with R-Truth getting injured, that's kind of taken away from it. So I think that'll happen there, and that'll be the case of that, or it's going to be the Miz, or it's going to be, Cesaro and R-Truth in a one-on-one, and then the next match is going to be a fatal four-way for the Intercontinental Championship, which would be the Miz, Bo Dallas, Kofi Kingston, and Wade Barrett. It's been a while since there's been a fatal four-way for a title at a WrestleMania. I'm thinking I'm having to go back to WrestleMania 20 here for the tag team turmoils. So yeah, that's just basically what I kind of think or want to happen at WrestleMania, and I know that half of this, if not any of this, will not happen at all. That's just the wonders of the internet, wonders of the YouTube wrestling community, is that we can mention all this great stuff, but at the end of the day, we're not the ones who actually we're not the ones who book it all. We're not the ones who have this big timeline of what's going to happen from one week on Raw to the next. So I think tonight's Raw is a pivotal moment, whether we see The Undertaker and Punk together, that kind of thing. Sorry, just somebody's messaging me there. Go away so can I see him? Oh, sorry, I just need to see the timer here. Whether we see the Undertaker, whether you see Brock come back, and then that tees up the the Brock Triple H match or something like that. Obviously, from the Royal Rumble onwards is a big fun run, to WrestleMania. It's even more so now that we have 48 days at the time of recording this to go for WrestleMania, and it's just going to be interesting to see what forks in the road are going to be, whether they go this way or whether they go that way. But enough of the hand movements, enough of all that. That's just my response to Shaun Blackford's tweet that he sent out earlier on today to ask what we thought was going to happen at WrestleMania. That's just what I think is going to happen, and I know my thoughts will be different from like Mr. Big Red's or Alan's, Haley's, Sean's, Robbie's, Ollie's, etc., etc. And that's the wonderful thing, is that, you know, we all have different ideas of what's going to happen, and then there's reality of what is actually going to happen. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Make sure to check out all these other fabulous people on YouTube, like X1 Tom, Gurney X, Healy the Tiny, Mr. Big Red 1990, HBK Rebel, Shaun Blackford, TNS Attitude, you know, to name but a few. Obviously, if you subscribe to me, chances are you've been on one of their channels already. But yeah, please like the video, leave your comments on what you think is going to happen, and yeah, I'll probably do a video maybe in the next couple of weeks about, you know, like what I thought was happening, what's going to happen, and yeah, just take it from there. So thanks for watching, and until the next video then, bye guys.